Truck Show podcast, live from the SEMA show in Las Vegas. Presented by Nissan, with support from EGR, Banks, and Amsoil.
It's another great episode from the SEMA show in Las Vegas, guys. We're starting off with Solomon Lunger, who's got an amazing carbon fiber Ford F100. What was it?
It was basically my truck, but 4,000 times radder.
Yeah. And it was in the Ford Performance booth.
Also had a cool truck in the Skyjacker booth, which was just across. So I ended up talking to him about both. And
little jealous, were you? And we're checking in with Miles, our friend at Catskin, about their latest leather wear. You had something like at a Taco Tuesday. I'm not sure what that was about.
That would be our buddy Jeremiah Prophet's Land Cruiser Tacoma matchup.
Okay, and then we're checking in with our buddy Josh at First Tech, which you would know as CompuStar Alarms, the reason my truck is still here today. Matt from Attitude, I guess.
That would be Matt and Jacob Donnelly from Attitude Performance in Chicago.
And our friend Matt O'Malley, you know the company Cerakote, and they've got a whole bunch of new stuff that you need to know about.
But first, we got to thank our presenting sponsor, Nissan. So if you're in the market for a new truck, a new full-size SUV with some off-road chops, check out the all-new Armada arriving soon at your local Nissan dealer. And the refreshed 25 Nissan Frontier. Head on down to your local Nissan dealership where you can check out all the great features that make Nissan trucks one of our favorite brands.
And if you have a Duramax with an Allison Trans, which I think all of the Duramaxes have Allison Trans, don't they?
They do.
They do. So let's say 2001 to 2019, that Allison 5 or 6-speed gets hot when you tow. Oh, wait a minute. Your friends over at Banks Power just released the new patent-pending Ram Air Transpan. It has a Ram Air scoop on the bottom, and that Ram Air scoop increases air density that goes through the long, thin fins and outcools any other transmission pan on the market. It also makes services super easy. Head over to bankspower.com to check out your new Ram Air Transpan.
And if you're looking for the best synthetic products to maintain your vehicle...
I am
too! But I'm doing the read.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'll shut up.
Head on over to amsoil.com where you can find everything from gear lubes and oils, car care products, even oil filters. Amsoil has everything you need to keep your vehicle looking good and running great. Amsoil is the first in synthetics.
And guys, the clock is ticking. Time is running out for you to get in on this very special deal at EGR. You can get yourself an EGR manually retractable roll track bed cover for up to 30% off plus a rebate of $250. Head over to EGRUSA.com to get in on this right now because at the end of the year, it's over. Let me say it again. You can save up to 30% off the best roll top tonneau cover on the market, the Roll Track, plus get an additional $250 rebate. Hit their online store today at EGRUSA.com.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with The Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
I'm in the Skyjacker booth with our friend Solomon Lunger, who is you're basically like Mr. Old Ford pickup trucks. You are like the dude.
I guess so. I mean,
I tried to be that once, but I still have one under a tarp.
Yeah, Jeff's been telling me to give you a hard time about that thing for years now.
Yeah, no, literally, it's for years. So every time I see something cool, like this is, I'm guessing a 79 that's here in the Skyjacker booth?
So usually you'd be right because of the square headlights.
But it's a Ranger, 78.
Hey, at least you know your Fords.
All right. So that's always the trick. So I just, as you said, I looked over, I saw the F-150 Ranger badge, and I go, oh, this is the test for anybody if they know Ford trucks. All right. So last year at SEMA, Friday, which is usually the slower day, you come over, hang out with my friends over at Skyjacker, love the McCurry family, they're awesome, and you start talking to them. This year, you have a truck in their booth. What happened?
This truck, so Snickers is a 1978 F-150 4x4, and it was all original 52,000 miles when I bought it, all original paint. It's got a really crazy paint scheme.
It's this like brown, orange, gold, beige. There's some filigree and pinstriping on the A-pillar. It's basically, I guess this would be a short bed, regular cab, right?
Correct.
So 6-foot bed. And it's got the most appropriate time capsule snapshot 70s paint job you could ever have on one of these trucks.
It does, and what's cool is, so it was painted in '82. The guy got a logging contract from the state of Oregon, and he painted all of his rigs to match. When I got it, it was in a private collection for 26 years. The guy never drove it, and I bought it 3 days later. We did the entire Hot Rod Power Tour, 2,200 miles, and the guy that I got it from was so happy to see some young kid out enjoying a truck that he just looked at, and he loved the truck, and he washed it and kept it clean, but he never used it.
Can we point out that it has original 70s spotlights on the A-pillar?
It does, and actually what you're going to find really cool about it, I modified them, and I made a bracket so I could put modern Casey's.
Put the Casey's in there.
Inside of it. So when I got it, it was a 400 with a C6, I believe.
So basically a 400M.
Correct. Yep. 400M with a C6. I put vintage air in it. I did a paintless wiring kit. And then like 2 weeks later, Mass Motorsports reached out to me, and I already had a Godzilla being built there. And it was for Clyde, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we need to put this motor in something already. And Clyde was a SEMA 2020 project that didn't happen for 2020 because there wasn't one, so it stalled. Long story short, we put the motor in here. 710 NA horsepower with a stock 9-inch with tires that I didn't even bother checking the date code, never checked tire pressures, and we went to the burnout competition at Holly Ford Fest, and I blew up the truck. The bed exploded, and it was the scariest thing and awesomest thing. And I was really happy the interior was brown because nobody could tell anything, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know. Code brown. Somebody had a diapers moment.
Then, the internet basically roasted me for a little bit, and I came to the conclusion of I have to take my foot out of my mouth and redo it. So I worked with, I don't know if you know Boris at Street Machinery, but they blended all the paint. Well, first we worked with Autometal Direct. We got a new bed. My buddy Cody at Tin Knockers did all the fab work, and then Jerome and Boris at Street Machinery repainted it all. Now it's on a 4-inch Skyjacker lift, 35-inch Mickeys. I made my own wheels. They're Solos Manufacturing.
These have dual of the new version ADX monotube shocks from Skyjacker.
Sure does.
And are these the new softer coils through the dual rates?
Yes, they are.
So anybody listening, we've talked about this before, but the beauty of Skyjacker is still family owned, the last major suspension company that is. 51 years, and they have gone back through their catalog, and you can still get all the old kits for the old trucks, and they've modernized them with more modern spring rates and shocks, fitments, but they have those lifts still available. If you've got an old vintage truck and you want to have that Skyjacker look, they still do that today.
And what I actually found really cool when I went to do a factory tour, they're a bunch of hoarders.
Oh, I know.
They do not get rid of anything. So if you call and it's not on the website, but you remember one time seeing a picture of a Skyjacker, they do have that, and they could make it again if you ask them to.
We've done the tour on the show, but there's the spot where Lonnie McCurry Sr. used to paint the parts red before powder coat, and the floor is still red in that spot.
Oh, yeah. And my favorite part was the Bronco Graveyard.
Oh, yeah. The Bronco Graveyard is great. And it's not all in one spot. It's sort of scattered throughout, and there's Bronco bodies up on top of shelves and machinery, and it's like, hey, there's another Bronco body up there.
It's just so cool to see what we might be in 50 years from now. You know what I mean? Like, we're just going to be that old man who has this awesome manufacturing thing and all these kids that are helping run.
God willing, right?
It's literally like the most American dream there is.
Yeah. All right.
So then, 710 horsepower, right? Wasn't enough.
And what trans?
It's a 4L80 because you need to hold the power. Yep. And then we put a 3-liter Whipple on it. We have a full vibrant stainless exhaust. My buddy Hutch built. Inside, Cato's Custom Upholstery did the seat with Apex leather. I make amp step brackets for these old trucks. I put my brackets on it. Dakota digital gauges, vintage air.
It's funny because it's this mix of nicer modern and then totally kind of roachy old, vintage. Like it's like not precious enough that you wouldn't go drive it or off-road it, but at the same time you're like, it's so unique and original, you kind of don't want to do it either because you would hate for something to happen like, oh, I don't know, your bed exploding.
It definitely would not be but ideal twice, but I want to use the truck. The whole purpose of any of my trucks are for me to push the boundaries of other people's minds. And just get them out of their comfort zone and seeing that you could actually use these trucks and modernize them and take them out and enjoy them.
And they're fun.
They're so much fun. And like the feeling that you get when you drive it, it's unparalleled.
Nothing is like a regular cab, old vintage pickup truck that's been lifted.
You can't get more thumbs ups than driving one.
No.
Like all the thumbs
Kids smile.
Attaboys out everywhere. You know, it's awesome.
All the stuff. All right, so this is the Skyjacker booth, and right across from us is the Ford Performance booth, and that's where Clyde is now, and it is unbelievable. So we're going to walk over there, and what year is Clyde? It's a bump side, but which year?
So Clyde started out as a 1969 F100 long bed, actually, and so that's the VIN number and the cab itself. The truck now is basically that's the only original part, is the inner structure of the cab and the VIN number. We're riding on a Porterbuilt Stage 2 coilover chassis. It's got a Raptor R 5.2 liter motor.
I'm so jealous of this thing. The thing is, if I finished my truck on time, we would have been 3 years ahead of the curve on having bump sides re-emerging at SEMA. Now they're starting to pop up all over. This is by far the highest quality one I've ever seen, and I'm looking at it just going, I know, I own this truck. Not this truck, but I own this truck.
You do.
And it's, yeah.
And now if you come out with yours, you're the copycat, which
I
is
know.
crazy. And I didn't even like bumps when you had yours. I was a unibody guy.
I always love the bumps. They're my favorite. I have one, and who knows if I'll ever be able to finish it.
Maybe you need to just drop it off and I'll help you.
Well, maybe we can figure something out, because that's it taunts me, and it's the.
Is it still over at Banks?
Still at Banks. And I got a whole lot of parts in the bed and a car cover over it. And you know what's funny? I just paid registration and insurance on it, even though it doesn't drive. And I always do that for the one simple fact. If I keep having to pay for it every year, I won't forget about it, and it'll force me to plan non-op, no P&O. I'm paying the money as a penance to myself for the truck. It's like me telling the truck, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm still spending money on you. So one of these days.
I love you, baby.
I know, exactly.
I'm coming back.
Not enough to make you drive, but enough to look at you and think about you every once in a while.
Thinking about you. 5.2 Raptor R motor. It's got a 3.8 liter Whipple, because the 2650 that the Raptor R motor comes from apparently wasn't good enough for Ford Performance. So now Ford Performance is like, this is our new Mac Daddy motor. It's like 900 plus horsepower crate motor with
silly.
factory backing warranty. Like, you can't really get better.
No, it's silly.
Control pack that works with it. Like, it's a full turnkey setup. So the truck itself is a complete carbon fiber truck. We worked with Brothers Carbon out of Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin.
Freaking amazing too. Like everything from the mirrors, the hood, the bumpers. It's stunning.
What I love about it is it's all pre-preg autoclave, and it reminds me of like a Koenigsegg. All the V's, everything goes perfect.
It's lined up to the center line.
Everywhere.
No, it's
The roof to the-
Koenigsegg is one of the best as far as factory carbon fiber. One of the best in the world. It's why like Unplugged Performance works with them on the Tesla stuff, because their carbon fiber is second to none. This truck is absolutely phenomenal. And when you look at carbon fiber up close, because it's hand laid and the weave, you'll see imperfections here and there, and that's part of the fun of carbon fiber. But a really high end one, it's almost impossible to find it. You have to look really hard on this truck to even find frayed fibers that made it into it. I mean, there's a couple little spots that you can catch, but that's part of the fun of carbon fiber.
I love how real it is. And to me, the coolest part of this truck is all the stories and the people that are a part of it. Like, I met Brothers Carbon 3 years ago, and it was just random coincidence. And they're like, hey, one day reach out, because Clyde originally was a patina truck. Mm-hmm. And it was for SEMA 2020. That's when I got the chassis in 2019. Got the Godzilla motor in 2019. And then everything got paused. So last year, I came to this booth, the Ford Performance booth. We're talking, and they're like, email us. Let's get that project going again. That was a cool project. So I go outside after 4 years of not looking at my patina truck. That was a nice truck. And I live 3 miles from the beach in Miami. Mm-hmm. And it was rusty. Like the hood, it literally was separating the hood. Yeah. So I reached out to the carbon guys just to get a hood. Sure. And I was going to go to the patina guys who patina blended Snickers and be like, hey, base color carbon, patina it, and everybody will blow their minds. Because the rest of the truck wasn't so bad. Right. And they're like, that's dumb. Why wouldn't you do everything carbon? And I'm like, I can't afford it.
Because I'm not a gazillionaire?
It's exactly what I said.
Do you remember there was a C10 last year here, the C772 that was all carbon?
Rod Parsons.
And it was unbelievable. So when I saw this here, I'm like, this is, to me, like that C10 was insane. This is the equal amount of insane on a Ford.
Well, I appreciate that. That truck
Was
is
amazing.
insane.
Yeah.
And he races it.
I know, he uses it. It's totally cool.
So then they gave me like a deal of a lifetime because I've helped them in the past with some stuff and they just decided to.
It's awesome when you have real relationships with manufacturers that are like, you know what, just because we want to further the automotive industry, we want to back your passion because we want to see our products being used in that way to inspire other people. And those real authentic relationships get these vehicles done. It's not always about money. It's not always about the exposure. Sometimes it's a company saying, no, I want to be a part of something really cool. And I love that about SEMA and I love that about vehicle builds is you get to a point where you have these contacts and they're like, they buy into your dream. And they're like, let's do it because I want to be a part of that.
100%. You honestly couldn't have said it any better because that's really how this whole thing started. I mean, Fat Fender Garage / Porterbuilt, like they believed in me in 2019 about the project when they donated the chassis.
Yeah.
And then Ford's been on board since the beginning. And this year, when they were releasing the Gen 4 Coyote, they were like, reach out, let's get something set up. So I reach out and they're like, well, the Gen 4 Coyote, we're going to push it back for a couple quarters, but we've got these Raptor R crate motors.
Sold.
You didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't reply fast enough to the email.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
Say yes before they change their minds.
The contingency was you got to bring it to our SEMA booth.
Done.
I twist my arm.
Yeah, like it's like, oh wait, so not only do I have a guaranteed spot at SEMA, but it's in Ford's actual Ford Performance booth, and you're giving me the engine. You're like are you going to start lining my pocket with $100 bills on top of it?
You as a media guy, you're going to find this part better. All of that happened 2 weeks before MPMC.
Oh my gosh,
Which
that's
is
crazy.
basically
That's the
like-
last time I saw you was at MPMC.
Correct.
I was walking around talking about it.
And the best part was that I now had a guaranteed SEMA spot right before MPMC.
Done.
So all the companies I met with, that's when I met with Matt and Tremek, Mike and Matt.
And everybody wants to be in an OE booth.
And I mean,
It's good.
not to toot my horn, but it's
No,
honestly
toot your
a really cool
dude,
spot. Like
toot your horn.
I'm not that guy. but
I'm going to
it's a
toot your
really
horn
cool
for you
spot.
because what you've accomplished here in a short amount of time with this chassis and this platform is so far beyond what most people can do because this isn't like a 6772 C10 where all the aftermarket, everything's available. The Fords haven't quite caught up to that. This isn't like a Tacoma where you have a robust aftermarket. This is stuff you had to kind of push the aftermarket in this direction to get this here at this level. Even Teresa Contreras is walking around. She's like, I couldn't have painted this better.
I know. All the things you're saying right now, I'm all, exactly. You've been there. You've been through it. Huh?
Well, I'm still in it in some ways.
You couldn't have said
She painted
that.
my truck.
Did she?
She did.
Well, we really need to get her shining it out in the light then.
I
I'm telling you,
know.
dude. Maybe next year's SEMA, we need to do a push.
We should figure something out.
We will after this.
All right.
But that is exactly my point. I wanted to push the aftermarket.
Yeah.
For years. I mean, I've been so hard-headed that 15 years ago I thought Fords were cool.
Yeah.
And back then the aftermarket was like, no, they're not cool. And I just kept berating them and berating them and berating
It's
them.
the same thing that's happened on the muscle car side, right? All the Mustangs and the Camaros are gone, so people started going to Mopars. And Mopars were never the cool cars. Now you're seeing AMXs, and you're seeing Challengers, and you're seeing maybe a Roadrunner was cool or something like that. But nobody wanted like a RT. They just weren't. And now those are drying up. And I always told people, I said, pay attention to the 67 to 72 Ford F100s, not only because the 67 to 72 C10s are gone, because the Mustangs are gone. And this is going to be the closest you can get to a Mustang with the same type of performance, switchgear, rear-wheel drive. They're even around the same size, and the performance. That's why this year range of F100 picked up. And I saw that 5 years ago, or even more now when I picked up my truck, because I go, these trucks are going to come on strong because the Camaros are gone, the C10s are gone, the Mustangs are gone. People are going to want to do a Ford truck before they want to do a Mopar car. And that's kind of where we're at today, is these trucks are starting to get notoriety.
They definitely are, and it's really cool. Companies are picking it up. So like Fat Fender Garage, they make the chassis with Porterbuilt. They work right away. They did my whole interior. It's like a bolt-in, but like really bespoke interior that we worked with Apex for the leather. You said that you wanted to put a 6-speed in yours. We have an American Powertrain Magnum 6-speed in here from Tremek. We worked with Bear Brakes. We got a Curry Housing Gear FX internals, master power brakes. They make this really cool carbon fiber booster.
And it matches.
It's
the
so
carbon
cool.
fiber is really good on it.
And then they do a billet master, and they match the master to give it like the Whipple look, and they put Clyde on it, which I thought was really neat. And then we went with Vibrant on everything. So this is full titanium. The entire thing is a 3-inch titanium. Inside of it, like I was saying, it's all Apex leather done by Fat Fender Garage. I started my manufacturing company basically with these 2 trucks. So it's called Solos Manufacturing, and I'm making a bunch of little parts. So like all the dash components, the steering wheel, the pedal set, tail lights, those are all parts that I'm making.
Love the wheel. Love the way the dash looks.
I really just wanted to make it like 2024, 1969.
Well, what's rad about this, if you know these trucks, the gauge binnacle, 67 was a 1 year only for gauges, doors, and a bunch of other weird stuff. And then 68 to 72 was something else. The original ones were metal. The later ones were plastic.
Correct.
And the metal ones had
Big open.
Yeah, the big, right? So what I love about this is if you're an F100 enthusiast, the thing I love about this is you can instantly see this is the right dash. It's a 67 to 72 dash, but it's been modernized in the most subtle ways, and you know exactly how it's been done. Like, for example, where the radio would go, you've got a screen in there, but the screen's not in your face, so it doesn't take away from the vintage interior. The other thing is, you know, where the glove box or where some of the controls are on the when you had the vertical HVAC. Well, you've got that done, but for your, is it vintage air? Restomod. So you got your Restomod AC. So it's in the same spot, but it's done a little bit different. It's all those little details. Nothing on here feels out of place, but yet it's new, and it's a nod back without being out of character with the truck, and that's what I love about it.
I really appreciate that, and that's really what I was going for, is exactly that.
Even the push button start you have, it's a modern Ford push button start, but it's got the chrome surround, and it's where the key would go anyway on the left side of the wheel on these trucks.
Exactly.
And it doesn't look out of place.
Thank you. That really was my point of it, and then the seat itself, I thought.
By the way, can you open and close the door? I don't care who you are, no Chevy C10 closes like a Ford door of this era.
Oh, the bear claw on these are so good.
They're so good.
And then the seat itself, you could kind of see it looks like a Mustang seat from 69.
Yep.
That was the idea behind it. And then when you move to the back, it kind of gets wild.
It's already wild, my friend.
And then the crazy Hutch from Hutch's Welding did a bunch of crazy pie stuff with some titanium from Vibrant.
Crazy.
And it's just wild. We have all the Benton red prismatic powder, Boyd Welding fuel tank. I've got an anti-gravity battery, carbon fiber drive shaft from Drive Shaft Shop.
Wild.
Again, Porterbuilt chassis, Curry housing. Everything is ARP bolts from front to back.
There's nothing that hasn't been touched to the finest nth of a degree on this truck. And there's nothing I look at this truck and go, gee, you should have done this, or I wish it was this way. This truck is absolutely 10 out of 10 for me.
The biggest problem I've heard so far about the truck is the registration, the name. Everybody is annoyed it's not their name.
That is a big problem. I'm annoyed right now just thinking about that.
That's pretty much her.
I love it.
Thank you guys for the time, and I think we're going to enjoy a little bit left to SEMA.
Yeah.
And then we get to go home.
And then we get to go home this is day 12 of SEMA today.
We're at day 37 of SEMA.
It's a 4-day show. It feels like it's been a month. So, all right, my friends, safe travels home. Again, congratulations on Clyde. This thing is just, it's stunning, and there's nothing about it that I would do different. It's so well done, and I'm glad that you were able to do it. You're the right person to bring a 67 to 72 to life in this way, and just can't say enough good things about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anybody that wants to see some more about it, I made its own Instagram. It's called Carbon Clyde, and then there's an Instagram just for Snickers, Snickers_F150. You guys all, like, subscribe on the podcast. Thanks.
Yeah, Ford Era, where do they find you on that stuff?
Just YouTube, Instagram, pretty much everywhere. You just Google Ford Era. It's me. We're going to try to be out and driving and enjoying these trucks. So if you see me, stop me. If you have any questions, ask them.
Promise me one thing.
What's up?
You won't blow the bed up on this one.
I promise I won't try to blow up the bed on this one.
All right, good enough. Deal.
I was told that the 41 spline axles and the Gear FX third member, there's nothing I could do that will...
Okay, I get it, but no challenge accepted. Just enjoy it. It's beautiful.
It's definitely going to be sketchy. I'm excited.
The man, the myth, the legend, Miles from Catskin.
Jay. How are you?
Good to see you. Like 2 days later after the big party.
Yeah. Oh, so now you're recovered.
Oh, he was still drunk yesterday.
It was. I wasn't
I asked
drunk.
him that same question. I said, "You still hungover?" He said, "Still drunk."
You always throw the best party in Vegas.
Thank you
very much.
I was
pleasure.
walking by the elevator lobby, and the line looked like the most popular ride at Disneyland. If it closes for half the day and everybody's hopeful it'll reopen in 15 minutes so they don't leave the line, that's kind of what that would look like.
It's so funny. There was a party in the suite next door, and I was coming upstairs with them in the elevator, and they said, "Oh, you're having the party next door." Well, I hope we don't get in your way with our party. I said, "Well, how many people you got coming?" And he said, 80. And I went, how cute.
Sorry.
How cute.
You're what, probably 4 or 5x that?
We had 1,100 people there.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
That's a good
And that
party.
suite holds it.
It's a good
All right, let's go out into the showroom floor here because we absconded with you over by the office. And I would like you to show us what we have new for 2024 and 5.
New is, we have a lot new.
Because I came by yesterday when I didn't see you, and I looked at some of the patterns that are better than OE. They are, I can't even, maybe you could help me describe them.
This year we're introducing a lot of new tech stitch patterns and the new tech perf patterns, because now you can customize with holes at casket. Who ever heard of that?
How do you describe your tech, like that line?
It's customized in ways that it's not just a stitch line. It's a pattern stitch line, like the diamond stitching. Only diamonds is, it's so passé.
Yeah, it's so yesterday.
That's so 2019. And now we have specific designs with the stitching, but we can also do that with holes in the perforation.
I saw
Now
the
it's-
dog paws over there.
There's the dog paws.
So that means you
We
can
our-
have
our Hubert.
you can have color behind the like a two-tone, but within the holes, correct?
Well, that we can do with our Barracuda leather, which I can show you over there, but it won't come through the microphone very well. Because that's the problem with our product.
Right, you have to
can't
see it, you
look,
can't
feel,
touch
smell.
it. Yeah.
Sorry,
You're going to have to, and our powers of description are weak at best.
Especially like 3 days into SEMA.
That's right. So this is an example of our tech stitch, which is what we call our valley pattern. This is our tech perf Hubert. As you can, it looks like
Very much like the Cubert video game.
it does, and
With a micro perf. Those are very small holes.
yes, it is. But actually, those are two different size holes. If you take a look at that, so we can vary the diameter of the hole.
Is that done with laser?
No, it's done with actual pins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Some people would say that we're two very different size holes.
Here's an example of the Barracuda leather with the pattern perf. The colors underneath, we have an orange, it's black leather with a different color underneath, red, blue, yellow. This one happens to be orange. And it gives you a subtle look at an angle of that color without overwhelming it with all orange, you do
And then you've got this inlay with like a stamped filigree
that we have
inside the bolster, which is really nice.
Stars and stripes.
Very nice.
Let's look at the perf holes on that one.
That's very cool.
The perf holes on that.
Yeah,
is
got a
the
little American flag action here.
Yep.
Subtle, but there.
It's
But
there.
when he says stars, well, I say stars and stripes, it's all tone on tone. Like it's very subtle until you creep up on it. Wow, that's cool. And can you choose what pattern you want?
Well, we have 12 different patterns available right now. We're going to keep expanding it, but we're introducing them here at SEMA.
Okay.
That one right there is one of the patterns. They call it the moth pattern, although it looks like something else if you ask me. We do have a big market in Texas.
Dude, look at that. He's got the Texas state.
Like
We
that.
perforated. We have the ribbons.
Ribbons, got it.
Now
Okay.
we also have a Barracuda leather that's black with pink underneath. So that would be a nice little breast cancer awareness kind of interior.
Okay.
We have another stitch pattern for scallops or fish
So that's
scales.
fish scales, yeah.
There's our Barracuda yellow. Here's another double hex pattern stitch. Again, the stitching and the perforation is really what we're pushing this year.
Now we're rolling up on a Mustang with samurai swords. It's a convertible Mustang here. Oh, Deadpool.
This was built by Project Cars, Carlos Molina over there. We sponsor about 10 of his cars every year. He had a different theme in mind for the booth, but came to me and said, "I'm building a Deadpool car. You want it in your booth?" And I said,
Sure. Why not?
Yes. So I kind of changed it to this subtle comic book theme just to
So
accomplish.
the wrap is his outfit.
This is him, yeah. And this wraps. I mean, it mimics Deadpool's suit.
And so
With bullet holes.
the headrest, he's got bullet holes, and the headrests are his masks.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And so we had to put those samurai swords on back, the katanas.
Who says you aren't having fun?
Yeah. Well, why bother coming to work if you're not?
Yeah,
What
right.
do you call that pattern that's in the inlay? In the
That is Electrotech.
Electrotech?
Electrotech.
Electrotech.
Yep.
Okay.
That's another, that's your standard diamond, okay? Ho hum. We have an Arrowhead over there. You saw the pause perk earlier.
Yep.
Well, that particular scene also has another line of leather that we're doing, which is, it's essentially Napa leather, only we call it Sonoma leather. It's right next door, you know. And this
that's
is
nice.
super smooth,
Yeah.
almost no grain leather.
Yep.
And yeah, this is being introduced this year at SEMA. It's now available in 7 colors, black and whiskey.
You guys have been busy.
We've been very busy. Well, we have to keep innovating, you know. It's kind of hard to do in this particular line because, I mean, how many different ways can you do it? But we're fighting.
You're fighting lots of ways.
There are many ways of doing it, just to keep ourselves on top of the heap.
Yeah. So if you have a boring interior in almost any modern vehicle, they've got patterns for it. And if they don't, they have a program. They'll do one-off interiors as well.
Or
But,
if you have cheap OE stuff that's falling apart on you.
I mean, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many different applications, but go to catskin.com, Katzin, catskin.com. They've got a pattern maker, all of the colors, everything, and you can get a little overwhelmed. And
That's
so
part of the problem.
You
We
will,
have so many choices.
But you will aid people, right, if they call.
Yeah, if you call in, we have anyone that answers the phone in our retail department will guide you through it. Yeah, they'll figure out what colors you're looking for. You send them pictures. We'll send you swatches. If you can't decide between salsa red and medium red and cardinal, you know, so you got to make your own choice on your own.
Awesome. All right. Congrats on the new line.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Jay.
All right, I'm standing in the Toyo Tread Pass with a friend of mine, Jeremiah Prophet. We've had him on the show. He is the Land Cruiser guru, and what the heck is this thing we're sitting in front or standing in front of right now?
It is the guacamole, right? That I actually never thought of the color being guacamole until this show, but
It totally is, though, right?
yeah. So we call this Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday, the name came up because it's part Tacoma, and we were only going to work on it on Tuesdays. but in order to get
While eating tacos.
yeah, well, of course,
Of
yeah.
course.
So we had to change that tactic a little bit to get it done by SEMA. It became taco 24 hours a day, every day. But
Those are my favorite kind, by the way.
which is also good, yeah, for tacos. So
So when did this start? So when did you decide, we're just going to start working on it? Then when did you decide, we should probably get it done for SEMA?
Yeah. So last year in the Toyota booth actually is when the concept came up of doing an old Land Cruiser with very modern Toyota DNA. And then, so we actually did get started on it pretty soon after SEMA, but we didn't crank the heat up on it until June. And so really then it became go time, and we dedicated a lot of resources to it to get it here.
Now, this is this really cool metallic guacamole green. 4-door old FJ basically is the body style. And there's a lot of really subtle, cool things you've done here.
Yeah, it's a lot of details. So it is an FJ28 pickup, right? A 1959 20 Series Land Cruiser. It wasn't really a truck to start with. There's only like 5 of those. So, but we started with a 25 front clip, and then we stretched the body to a 4-door, old school, early style short bed, FJ45 style short bed. And it's all on a custom chassis that we built in-house because you got to have a really big frame for something this long.
By the way, I'm looking at the way you have the steering box and the basically where you bolted on Frenched into the frame rails. Oh my gosh, that's like a just beautiful craftsmanship.
Thanks, man. You have to tuck everything in just right to get this kind of hardware and something like this.
Especially a Warren 8274 with the synthetic. This is the new one. That's a massive winch. Correct, but massive.
Massive. And, it's right, the classic. It's the perfect winch for a classic 4x4. And there's a lot going on right there with the Solus lights and the Nacho lights and the front bumper and the steering right next to it, right? And packing in is kind of the theme of this because we took the heart of 2018 Toyota Tacoma, the electronics package, the drivetrain, engine, transmission, everything, and sort of fit it into an 8-inch narrower car. 3.5 liter V6, 6-speed manual gearbox, extra transfer case behind that, Tacoma axle in the rear, narrowed 5 inches. Very, 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 very custom front axle, fabricated so that we could get the Tacoma CVs in there somehow with a solid front axle.
Oh my gosh.
So we have the speed sensors so we could get the radar cruise to work,
yep.
the A-Track to work, yeah.
That's incredible that you took all the technology and made that work. But I'm looking at some of the things. Obviously, you got Bilstein bypass shocks here, super cool. But what's up with the wheels? You've got a modern beadlock, but it's styled to look more like an old Steely, and then you've got the dog dishes on there that are vintage and rad. To me, those types of details are what make the vehicle.
For sure. These wheels, we're really lucky to have Nomad wheel as a partner, and they won off to these for us. And they're a variation of the 504 field wheel that they're debuting actually this year at SEMA, which is that older classic looking wheel, but available in the right offsets and sizes, that everybody wants
the modern
today.
Stuff. Man, 37s. I can't believe, your control arms for the suspension is, that's like 2-ton stuff. That's not even like 1-ton stuff. It's massive.
Yeah, the steering and front suspension on this is like, Thrasher level, rock bouncer level stuff. Yeah. But, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. So we kind of went for it on the front end for sure.
So what was the thought process on the interior?
Well, we had to the idea, again, all modern Toyota DNA, and it was really important to me to get the IP, that's Toyota speak for instrument panel, in there so that we had the gauge, all of the original gauges and the touch screen and the HVAC and all of that in place. So we started with the Tacoma interior, and then we narrowed it all up about 8 inches.
Oh my God.
Lots of 3D printing, lots of tucking and mounting of things in weird places to get it all crammed in there, but that's it. So essentially the same interior. It feels like you're in a Tacoma when you're sitting in it. Yeah.
And then the Magnuson blower you have on top of the engine, and then all of the detail work for the gap fillers or hider pieces to make the engine bay super clean. It's really subtle but really beautifully done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we like our engine conversions, engine swaps, engine compartments to look kind of OE.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not really worried about tucking wires and not being able to see any of the mechanics, but it does need to look like, if you open the hood of a brand new car and, you don't expect to see weird stuff. And so that's the goal.
And when are we taking this off-road and popping the rooftop tent and having cigars in the middle of the desert?
Probably around EJS.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm out there every year, so I'm sure I'll see you out there if I don't get out to your shop in Grand Junction prior. Because I haven't seen you. I haven't seen the shop out there.
Yeah, you better come visit. It's pretty cool.
All right. All right. So if you guys want to know more, just go to Prophet's Resurrection Land Cruisers. And by the way, we've had Jeremiah on before. Amazing builds, whether they're restorations or resto mods. Just unbelievable quality. Check them out if you're a Land Cruiser guy.
All right, we're with Josh at First Tech, but you know them more commonly as a CompuStar, at least for me, my truck.
You know them more.
I know them
yes.
as CompuStar, exactly.
And therefore our listeners know them as CompuStar.
Yes.
How's the show going, Josh?
Show's going good so far.
Got it.
How about for you guys?
Amazing. Yeah. So Josh, for those of you that don't know, Josh came down with the team and they installed the T15 and Drone Mobile in my truck, and now I can sleep at night and have been able to sleep for quite some time because of this.
Yes, that is true. Came down and installed on your TRX. That way we could safely secure it with some of the new security products that we're offering.
Well, he still has it, so that's been good.
It's still there in the driveway?
It's still there. I got
Behind some ballers, though.
Yes, I was going to say with the posts.
Exactly. So that helps. But ultimately, even if they somehow figured a way to bend or move the bollards out of the way, they'd have to get through the CompuStar.
They would, yeah. So our philosophy is going after the security and making sure that it's going to work. We do a lot of our investigations as what's being as far as theft. We have all kinds of different cool videos on YouTube. Just even the techs giving how they're actually taking these cars and everything else. So there was a Dodge dealership that they pretty much took all the Challengers off their lot. And so we do certain things to try to help inform our consumers of that stuff that's going on and then what we could do to secure it. So
you're really trying to understand how it's happening.
Yes.
That way you can educate the consumer of why your product would work in that case.
Why it work in their application and everything else. And so when we did your truck, we already had done going after the Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge brands. And then we started trying to shop some of the harnesses that we utilize for those or connectors, and we couldn't find them. So we built a universal piece that would act like the PTS interruption to get away from that relay attack that you see online all the time.
That's where the guy stands in front of your house with the big
well, it's Halloween all year long for them. They throw on the Amazon jacket, walk around your garage, your front door with a little package in hand, but yet they've really got an antenna that is capturing the information from the key.
I've seen the guys though with a giant coat hanger and tinfoil trying to capture that signal.
That's your low budget thief. But he's got it down too.
That guy's pulling Kias.
What people don't realize is that your key fob is always emitting a signal. Is that correct?
And that's across the board. A lot of people just think, they're after the Dodges and everything everything else. But no, anything that's
It's always
emitting,
looking
that's
awake.
PTS that allows you to open the door without removing a key or a remote from your purse or your pocket is potential for this attack.
So what they're doing is they're recording that and then rebroadcasting that to the vehicle?
Basically, it's like an extender. It's like a range extender is what they're doing. So they're grabbing the RF, just like a repeater that you would use for your cell phones, but this was RF signal. And then there's a receiving box where they're standing right there that's emitting it for them to press the button on the outside of the doors.
And then they're in.
And then they're in.
Now they pop your headlight switch or whatever they got to do to hook their harness up, and they're off the races.
It's not even that. So once they're emitting the signal, it's literally get the door. He basically puts his hands out, stops the guy where he's standing, gets in the door, put your foot on the brake, hit the button, and start the car. And that doesn't even matter.
Like a two-man operation. The videos that I've seen you guys put out, one guy's standing in front of the door, because everyone puts their keys right by the front door. So you got one guy who's receiving the signal by the front door, and another one with an eyesight standing by the car, and he's pulling the handle, like pull,
pressing the button.
and all of a sudden it goes it unlocks, and the guy says, "Don't move." Don't move. And he's got the signal. He gets in, starts to put the foot on the brake, starts the car, drives it away.
So how are they replicating the key being in proximity? Because there's two different things. There's one to open the door, but you could be outside the car and not be able to start it.
First, they're getting inside the vehicle, and they get the vehicle started. And before Chrysler did the update to lock out the third key being put into the system, basically they would run down the road, and they have another hack that they would go into the OBD2 and rewrite the key to the vehicle.
That's how they tried to get mine.
That's how they tried to get yours. So some of the other manufacturers have tried to implement not doing that portion, but they can't stop the relay attack because it's an RF signal that's being emitted.
And then what you guys have, you make several solutions, of which I have a couple, but one was simple. You're just like, hey, Jay, go get the little box that you put your keys
Faraday
in.
cage.
A Faraday cage. And I did that. And I bought one on Amazon for like $30. It was the box, and it came with a pouch, and so it's really handy, and it works. And I walked up to my truck with all of my keys in the box, right to the door handle, nothing. It won't see the keys. That was creative.
We have a box that's like that as well. It's called a key locker, and it's a key management system that acts like a Faraday box or has a battery inset piece that will liven up the key when you disarm it. You're ready to drive the vehicle, and then when you lock it down, it disengages the key in two different ways. So we do all kinds of different security stuff, and that's what sets us away from some of the other guys that are out there.
And where CompuStar got its start was in remote starts, correct?
It was remote start. So back in 99-ish, we started in Alaska, and now we're this just fundamentally functioning family. It's still independently owned. We do a lot of things together. It's been a really good experience.
Are you debuting anything new at the show that we should see?
We are doing a new dash cam, and then we've been talking about doing a radio with an integration piece built into it. So that's kind of what we're showing that we'll be releasing probably about midsummer next year.
Okay.
So
awesome.
If you go on the groups, especially all the Mopar groups, the guys always say CompuStar and Drone Mobile as if they are different, and they are. Can you explain the difference?
So CompuStar is your remote start security, your brains, and everything else. And when we decided to start doing the telematics and the tracking and the controllability, the name Drone Mobile was developed a part of that. It is still under the same umbrella, but it's more of the telematics phone control side as Drone. CompuStar is more of your RF control, your remote controls, and the brains that go into it, so that allow it to start or secure the vehicle.
And on the Drone Mobile, you've got the cameras forward-facing inside.
Yeah, so we did introduce the XC. We introduced it at SEMA last year. It took the award for Best New Product coming out, and then we finally released the camera in April, and it's been doing very, very well. So, and in fact, you have one in your truck.
Yeah. And a GPS, so I can do everything with the app on my phone. Like right now, I can whip it open and see the status of the vehicle.
Yeah, not whip it out.
Whip it open. The app, the mobile app. Yeah, opening up. But literally down, you can see the voltage of the vehicle. You can see the interior temp, which is amazing. During those hot summer months, it was ludicrous in the San Gabriel Valley where we are. We're Banks, right? Parked every day. Guys complain about like, oh, my dash is lifting and the adhesive on my leather seats is coming up or whatever. That's why people don't realize how hot it is. And this was monitoring it. I had never seen that before. That's really a neat feature.
It also tells you if you forgot to lock your car down. So it's like anybody they run into the store, I don't know if I locked my car, and they're trying to run out there and press a bunch of buttons, and if they're in a hurry, they can just look at their phone now.
Yeah,
So-
like you're deep into the mall, right?
Oh yeah, deep into the mall where none of your RF kits are really going to make it. That type of situation. I mean, with the drone XC and a dash cam, it's basically if it has any type of cell communication, it's unlimited range. We could go be partying in Europe right now, and our car be here, and we could see what's going on.
I did that.
Did
and
you?
I videotaped it. I was in Italy. I was in Florence, Italy, and I unlocked it for my detailer to get in.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's really cool.
You know, Rob's got to get in. I'm surprised he doesn't have his own set of 40 key pops for it.
Should have. Okay, we'll let you get back to it. It's a busy show, but thanks
is.
again for keeping my truck safe.
Of course, anytime.
If you have a question about CompuStar, I think your best bet, you can go on the website, of course, but consult your local car stereo shop, 12-volt shop, whatever, because you need this to be expertly installed because they've done so many of them.
Yes, we have authorized dealers who will have the product and have a solution, and they have direct access to all the technical guys that actually build this product for them. So
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you much. Really appreciate
Of
it.
course, anytime.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
He makes the gift that keeps giving. Holman, are you salivating? What's going on? Why did we stop by this Jeep?
So this Jeep is special. I've known about this for a while because my friend Matt Donnelly from Attitude Performance out of the Chicago area, he gave me a little teaser. Him and his son Jake, who've been on the podcast before. If you remember, they built the Black Rifle F-150 for SEMA a few years ago. So look at this amazing vehicle. What do you see?
It's all smoothed, so that's
No.
I mean, there's no fenders.
No.
There's
No. Look at it. Talk to me.
You're talking about the fact that
No, don't look at the chassis. We'll talk about chassis in a minute. Just look at the Jeep.
the interior,
All of
the
it.
fact that I mean, there's nothing that's original. It's all.
I guess it's all original.
Sure. It's all original. It
Okay.
just happens to be a
One thing-
2024.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a 24.
Okay, so here's the
Wait,
deal.
no, that's not possible.
So
Sure it
Matt
is.
got original blueprints to an original flat fender Jeep, and he had it blown up 20%,
And then some.
and then widened 4 inches, and had this full aluminum body and chassis made. He's now building these. It's a modern flat fender Jeep that is big and has a V8 and is fully custom, and it's been his secret for the last 18 months or probably more than that.
No, 9 months build.
Well, no build, but
Yeah.
when we were talking, when this is the
Yeah.
first time you showed me the
Little over a year.
yeah, okay, when we saw the blueprints and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep.
And so he's been sending me little teasers of it. And so this is for the Jeep enthusiast that loves the flat fender but wants a modern Jeep with all the modern amenities. It has a heater, it has air
What's it
conditioning.
built on?
What it is we went to Jeep, bought a brand new 2-door JK chassis, cut off everything we didn't want, put in what we wanted, took that chassis to a shop that specializes in hot rod chassis, Schwartz Performance. They duplicated the chassis as per our specification exclusively for us, and then built the body on top of that. So this is dimensionally a late model 2-door Jeep chassis, but it's built to our specifications, no extra holes we don't need, that sort of thing. Already set up for long arm suspension, coilovers, rear mount, motor-built fuel cell, things along those nature. It does have factory compatible motor mounts in it. So if somebody wanted to put this chassis under their JK and do a long arm conversion with coilovers, you could put your stock drivetrain right back in it with no problem. And everybody under the sun makes motor mounts for different options for Coyote Motor and LS and Hemi and all that kind of stuff to use the factory frame side mount, so I wasn't worried about changing that. And then we built the whole body in-house at our facility, and mind you, we're only a 3-man shop. Me and my son, our employee Jim, and our laser fabricator is extremely talented, makes me look a whole lot better than I actually am. This is all hand-formed on a press brake. And then he brought us the first panel January 27th, and we finished it, and here we are.
Holy mackerel.
And now look at the quality of the work. Look at all the componentry. I believe you got Willwoods on this too, right?
We have Willwoods front
Yep.
rear. We have HD Curry Dana 60s, Atlas 2 case, Red Horse fittings, Steer Smart steering. I did it steering column, low car shifter. I mean,
So if you love a flat fender but you don't fit, this is where you go.
and I don't fit. We've got one. Jake's got one,
Yep.
and this is more modern. It's, I guess you could call it a resto mod flat fender.
Now to give you guys a little background on Matt here at his shop, he's done a bunch of Ted Nugent's builds, And if you remember, like the old
Your shirt, by the way, says Matitude.
Matitude. Now, if you remember back in the 90s or early 2000s, there was a monster truck Mini for Dairy Queen in their commercials.
It was a Mini Cooper Countryman on 37-inch boggers on top of a Jeep chassis. It was their marketing promotional vehicle we built.
That was you.
Yes.
He built that. So he's done a bunch of those kinds of builds and stuff like that. And then he's got a full off-road shop that's been around, and we used to use them in four-wheeler all the time. And good people. I've known Matt for a long time, but to see this thing come to fruition, my friend, is awesome, because I know the passion project for you.
Yeah,
Does this confuse a lot of people? Because it did me. I don't know what to think of it. Not that's not cool. But you go, where? I don't understand what I'm looking at right now.
So
that's part of the fun.
It is. People stand in the aisle and they start cocking their head and they look like a dog that's looking at something confused and they go, "What year is it?" And then Jake and I, either one of us, tell me, it's a 2024. And what do you mean it's a 2024?
It's a flat fender. It can't be.
Right. The state of Illinois is going to give us 25 VINs and titles a year as a specialty constructed vehicle. So this is going to be something that's going to be reproducible from us. The body is only going to be available as a complete turnkey vehicle, but the chassis in two-door version and four-door version will be available separately if somebody wants to do their own vehicle, build their own project, what have you. The vehicle is called a General, and we have 1 through 5 star. A 1-star General is a 6.2 liter, which this one has. A 2-star is a 7 liter. A 3-star is a supercharged 6.2. A 4-star is a supercharged 7 liter. And a 5-star is something else. Do you want it Coyote powered? Do you want it Hemi powered? Diesel, whatever. That's going to be, we're working on some estimates right now for some overseas clients that they want twin turbo LS powered to go play in the dunes and make ridiculous horsepower. Well, that's fine. You can go do that. We'll build whatever you want.
Twin turbo Duramax?
Twin turbo LS.
No, I'm saying, can you do a twin turbo Duramax?
We actually moved the firewall back far enough. The way it came out proportionally, we can get a Viper V10 in this.
Holy mackerel.
So how many, you guys are building these, and you, what is it? It's apvehicles.com?
Yes, AP Vehicles, which is just attitudeperformancevehicles.com.
So you have 25 a year.
Yep.
How many of those do you think, after just this just launched 2 days ago at SEMA?
Correct. Yep.
How many of those do you think you have sold already?
We have a customer, like you said, we're in Illinois. We built a Raptor Bronco for a customer that lives here in Las Vegas. He's supposed to be coming here tomorrow. He wants to see the vehicle, possibly go for a ride after the show. We have a couple customers at home that are more than well-off customers that really enjoy what we were building and knew what we were building. So we'll see how it goes. The reality is I'm anticipating, at least initially, selling more frames than I am completes, just because we can do a rolling chassis cheaper than several other that are out there on the market. What we did with suspension design is we used BDS suspension supplied to long arms. It's got anti-rock sway bars in it front and rear, but I didn't want to do a triangulated rear suspension. I much prefer to do a 4-link with a track bar. In my opinion, they are a little more predictable on the street.
Way more predictable on the street.
The reality is somebody that's going to spend the kind of money that this is going to be, are they going to go out and beat it up and drag it across rocks?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, one of the 25 will.
Absolutely. And if they want to, more power to them. I'm not going to tell anybody not to, of course, but it needs to drive good on the street. 12-inch travel shocks, 14-inch travel in the rear. The Curry HD 60s with electric lockers and 488 gears and an Atlas 2 case. It should be a point-and-shoot vehicle for most applications and be very capable if somebody would want to do it. And I'm not going to bring a vehicle to market. Wouldn't bring a vehicle to SEMA that doesn't function as it should and be capable.
Can I drive it at some point, please?
Absolutely. I've actually got invited to 2 different trips to Moab with it that are flat fender runs.
Oh, awesome.
So we're going to do our best to get there.
All right.
Again, remind people where they can go to check this out.
apvehicles.com, and then Attitude Performance. If you're looking for a good off-road shop in the Chicago area, Attitude Performance is awesome.
Absolutely.
Father, son, family built, family owned. They've been around. How many years? It's got to be
30.
30, yeah.
Yeah. We wanted to build something in celebration of 30 years that was outside of our comfort zone. And
this is it.
This was it. I've never built a body before, and we're going to have someone else manufacture the bodies for us moving forward, because I can say I did it and I don't necessarily need to do it again.
But it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's unbelievable. And like I said, you've been sending me the spy photos and the teasers and stuff, and to see it in person. And by the way, remember when I went to the Ford Maverick drive?
Yes.
This is that green Maverick color.
Yeah.
And it looks perfect on this
green.
thing.
So we wanted to pay homage to the military background of what a flat fender is, but
Modernize it.
I didn't
And
want it to be,
civilianize it.
I didn't want to be OD green. There's
Yeah.
too many vehicles that are OD green that don't deserve to be OD green, in my opinion. But in the same respect, that's why we have all exposed grade 8 hardware. That's why it has the Hydro Boost works phenomenal for one, but two, it's got hoses and it's a little more complicated looking than just a standard booster. It needs to have that kind of industrial type look to it. But in the same respect, we did hidden hinges under the hood, so you don't have big bulky Jeep hinges on the hood. It's got aero latch hood catches on it, so it's as smooth as possible. It's a resto mod flat fender.
It's freaking awesome is what it is.
It's freaking awesome.
Jacob just walked in.
What's happening?
No, just a little tired after I was told 10 minutes ago that we had a podcast in 5 minutes.
We made it just in time.
Yeah. What's that?
You sprinted?
Yeah, as quick as I could.
You still like working with your old man?
For the most part.
I expected no different answer.
Well, I know you guys have been hard at work on this, and congratulations on getting it here.
Thank
you.
you.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was down to the wire. It was about a week and a half until it had to be here, and I wasn't 100% sure it was going to be here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a part of the
We
SEMA.
all know, like, we've all been through that
here.
once. Yeah. It wouldn't be a SEMA build if it were. But the great part is, like, this is an incredible first article. And even if this has flaws, which I can't see any, even if it has flaws, I'm sure both of you have already worked them out in your heads. You're like,
Absolutely.
solved, and you're ready to make these 25 first pieces.
Yep. Yeah, there's a couple of small things, like the pedals are a little too far apart and a couple other odds and ends, but yeah, that'll all be solved by the time these are in production.
Our wiring guy did an absolute phenomenal job. Plimpton Industries, he drove down from Minnesota, measured it. I think he told me the other day, not counting, because this one has just a factory GM crate motor in it, not counting the engine side of the wiring, there's like 866 feet of wire in this vehicle. And little things like the light bar that's on the roll cage. I was welding the last bracket on it, and I went, wow, I just came up with a much better idea. So moving forward, it's actually going to be a linear actuated light bar assembly.
So it folds up and down.
Yeah, so we can fold it down and put a top on the vehicle. And the wiring guy's like, oh yeah, he goes, I can put a switch up there where it'll cut power to the light, so if somebody has the lights folded flat, they're not going to catch the top on fire, things like that.
Those are important.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to think it as much as you can.
Yeah. I can't wait to drive it.
Whenever you're ready.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Tim O'Malley, what's happening?
How's it going?
Happy SEMA.
Happy SEMA to you.
Dude, your booth, the Cerakote / Prismatic Powders booth, is teeming with life over here.
It is busy this year. We have some really awesome builds in the booth. We got 2 bikes, 2 trucks, a full color wall. So Lacey Blair's doing autographs. So timing is good, but it is really busy this year. So RJ Fab did a great build on this 49 Willys.
I've been following that on social. I didn't realize that was in your booth, but I've been seeing it. People have been sending me little snippets, and that thing in person is incredible.
I think in classes SEMA magic, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, will this work out?
Yeah.
And yeah, just getting some of these builds in here is like really, really awesome.
So I'm looking at the Ford here. So it's a big window at 56 Ford, looks like.
Yep.
And it looks like it has a polished finish on the metal, but I'm assuming that's not what that is.
It's not. So if you actually look closer, so this is actually brushed steel.
Okay.
So it looks like, because people come up and are like, hey, is this all stainless steel? You're like,
Right,
no, that's
no.
crazy. This is actually original body. It's
Okay.
brushed steel, and then it has a semi-gloss MC156 ceramic clear coat over the
So
whole
you have
thing.
ceramic clear. So that UV inhibited?
Yeah, so it's fully UV inhibited, not going to oxidize, not going to yellow or
Awesome.
anything like that. So kind of a part of our traditional and large legacy of clear coat technology that we manufacture. This is actually one of our original recipes. So
Really?
from that has stemmed out our automotive car care products in the auto and home division.
I'm not supposed to touch the cars, but I'm touching the car because I want to see how smooth the Cerakote is.
He's caressing it. It's like
So silky, yeah, you gotta be a little gentle.
So
but yeah.
what we didn't say is the whole truck is just raw steel, all of it,
The whole thing.
except for the bed, of course, that has beautiful wood.
Yeah.
But
very cool.
it's slammed and it's gorgeous. Now if it had any body work, they've made it go away.
Yeah,
Although you can see the spot welds and stuff, which is super cool.
A little bit,
Yeah.
right? I mean, but trying
you
to
want that.
You want it, but you also are trying to hide it without overdoing it, especially when there's really no way to go back, right? I mean, with original bodies, you're not
It is what it is.
You have no mistakes, right? So these guys did an incredible amount of work.
You can look at the original kind of welds and stuff from the factory,
You can see different materials.
That's bronze.
Yeah, it looks like they brazed it instead of welding those cab corners. Looking across at the interior is awesome on this thing. Looking across at the, I guess it's a super cab Willys pickup. Is that whole body? Is that powder or Cerakote, or is that paint?
That is paint.
Okay.
You can see the main paint on the body is a custom paint job.
Okay.
All of the matte gray that is on there, that is all Cerakote. So, and there's a lot of little different features. There's a ton of detail to the build where you'll see Cerakote features, you'll see prismatic powder features, but the entire paint job is also finished and sealed with our Pro ceramic sealant product. So we do have a paint sealant product on the outside too, just to make sure that all the fingerprints from people not supposing to touch builds goes away.
Sorry. Yeah, lighting, stop touching the builds.
And this Willis is just insane. Are we officially calling it Willis or Willys?
Everybody calls it Willys. The official name was Willis, but it's a Willys. If you just sound like a pretentious dick if you call it Willis. But the people in the know. So they'll be like, yeah, you're calling it right, but nobody does, so screw you, you pretentious a-hole.
It's Willys.
Yeah,
okay,
Willys.
yeah, it's Willys.
Now, what is this color called? Because it's not red, it's not orange, it's not
like lava copper or something like that. It's the
lava copper.
I like that name, and I don't know what the name of the paint is. It is a custom paint that they made for this entire build.
Okay.
It's too red to be orange, it's too orange to be red, and it's too brown and golden to be anything else. So it's.
But here's the thing: it's also not burnt. It's like
No, it's not.
it's rich.
Very
so
rich.
yeah,
You know, it looks like when you're like making candy.
Oh yeah,
You
it
know,
does.
like when you've got it in the pot and you're like stirring
It's
it.
syrupy.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, so we have, like I said, we have a handful of components like we do with a lot of our builds and a lot of our partners is we really want to just empower the builder. We don't want to give them any stress. We want to just tell them, just get what you want. Like, tell us what you need from us. We'll give it to you and go for it. Just build what you want, right? So we want to take the stress out of having to either knowing we have material, when we're going to get it. Like, we don't want builders to think about that. We want to empower them, just like, dude, build the craziest thing you want. Build whatever you want. And that's where they can come up and they're like, you know what, you could use a gray Cerakote for, certain features here. We could use prismatic over here.
Well, let's back up. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So it's in 49 Jeep Willys. This is a trophy truck.
This is a Baja 500 race truck, which doesn't add up, and you wouldn't want to drive it. Just knowing how beautiful this thing is.
The suspension,
A-arm and
the suspension is just next level. All the gussets are gorgeous.
Fox shocks, all of it, all the
See
stuff.
it. You can see it from the outside. I mean, the suspension is one of the main features that everybody is staring at. The offset wheels, like everything on it's beautiful. No, it's pretty great.
And so you were talking about the gray Cerakote on the suspension chassis. Tell us about that.
So they did pick one of our Air Cure Cerakotes out for a lot of the like matte gray features, which you'll see obviously very different from the rest of the high gloss finish that they have on the rest of the vehicle. Suspension's done by King Shocks, but Prismatic's kind of in a handful of different features on the outside as well. Things that they wanted to give a little bit more pop to. There's a lot of different product in a lot of different places. Even if you walk up to the engine, there's a lot of different little features that they put, like, H109 gloss black on. So they did things that they wanted to drive out for the customers to look at. But the build's really intricate. So even getting a look in here.
Yes, yeah, 930 horsepower. Looks like a Maruzzi Racing 430 cubic inch LS.
Wow. That's a lot of engine in not much space.
No, yeah.
Now, let's go back to the finish because Holman was talking about it looking absolutely wet, so glossy you can't believe it. This is your Cerakote product, your ceramic product on here. Tell me about that. How is it applied? Can it be done at home? Is this professional only?
So we have come out with two types of paint sealant products. One of them is a Pro ceramic product. That's a solvent-based product. You can apply it at home. You can find it on eBay. You can find it on CerakoteCeramics.com. But we have a Pro model, which is a solvent-based product, and then we have the kind of traditional, what we call rapid ceramic, which is also a paint sealant product, but it's water-based. So something you can apply as needed versus having a solvent-based Pro product, which is more permanent, right? So now we sell those out to detailers. We have a detailer program. They get a discount on the product, but it's also something you can buy and send to your own home. So the one thing we'll always find about our products, whether it's Cerakote, Prismatic, anything that NIC industry does, is our business model is never B2B or B2C. We give them both options. So the accessibility behind it, even with such a professional grade product, is something you can still do at home. So we really like showing it off. It obviously does make a big difference to the 2K clears that they're still finishing these things off with. Gives it more richness, gives it more depth.
So I was
and
telling
protection as well.
Before I fired up the mic, Holman, because Rob has detailed, our buddy Rob Allen has detailed your Jeep, right?
Yep.
Rob is now using their ceramic coating on all of his cars.
Oh, nice.
And he's converted from, I won't say the other brands, but he's been through 4 or 5 different ceramic coatings.
When we first started working with Tim, we had that headlight restoration kit. I can't tell you how many people I've turned on to that shown them the process.
We should have been on commission.
Seriously, like all the time. And people bring like, some companies have the old like ball that foam ball that you put on the drill.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, no. Put that away. Get this, or I've grabbed some of the ones that you sent us, and I've done one. I'm like, you do the other one, but it's like unbelievable how well that product works.
Well, and you have to give merit to somebody who's trying to make in the team that focuses on doing consumer products. It's really hard to do something really, really well. The amount of R&D that goes into it. You buy all of your competitors' products, you test them out, and you will not always win until and that's just the truth. And so what we end up doing, and because we have control over manufacturing the resin and polymer part of our chemistry, is if we're at 90% of our goal and we're not quite beating our competitor, we can go in and go, okay, what do we need to change? And that takes time, and it takes investment too. So knowing what the clear finish line looks like, and then making a product not only that's great, but it has to be easy to apply. If we're going to make the products that accessible, everybody has to be able to apply it, no matter what skill level you're at. If you're a professional detailer,
both of my sons have done the headlight restoration kits on both of their Scions.
By the way, it's super scary halfway through. You're like, what have I done? And then you take that final where you put the applicator and you start putting the Cerakote on. You're like, oh my God. But I always tell people, make sure that sucker is dry. You're going to clean your car off, but no water can be around during the process because the water will leave. It'll leave streaks. Ask me how I know. Anyway,
streaky. Yeah. So. But yeah, to your point, it's also really funny because people are like, I don't know if I should do the last. You're like, no, you have to do the last step now. Sorry, but you're at step 2. You got to do step 3 now.
You got to go all the way. There's no
quitting now. You just stay on the phone with them while they do it, and they're like, oh my God, it's working. Yeah. No, but I mean, seriously, a big merit. And you guys were at this. You guys started looking at our products like, what was it, 3 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago.
I think 4, maybe.
I mean, I was a customer before we started talking to you.
So, I think it was 4 years ago, and we did trim coat. Like it was the original like trim restoration, right? And then I was like, hey, there's this new like headlight product. We have paint sealer, we have windshield, we have an interior product we just came out with, and there's more coming.
How does that work? Tell me about the interior product.
So the interior product's new. We wanted something, you get Armor All, right? You lather up your insides, they're really heavily oiled, and that kind of just keeps it moisturized, it kind of keeps it lustrous, for a long time.
And also greasy.
Yeah. So the one thing we wanted to do is like, hey, we don't want like a greasy finish. So we did come out with something where it's like a nice matte and more satin type finish, but it kind of brings everything back to life. It's something you can use on plastics, something you can use on leather. It smells good.
It repels moisture. It stains.
It does. So we're funny enough, so Tesla came out with white leather seating because that was a good idea until blue jeans got to sit in them, and then the dye from the blue jeans is actually transferring into the leather. There's actually companies that are specializing in doing leather treatments and using this because it's not too oily. You don't want to like overdo it and then it gets into your clothes. So this is just enough to put a barrier in it so that some of the dye transfer on the white leather isn't so much. So it is a good sealing product like all of our others at the end of the day. It's just not that traditional lathering type product where you're just putting a ton on there.
Tell me about the windshield product. I'm kind of curious.
So actually being from Oregon, we really like this product just because of how much it rains up where we're at. But I've had it on my Tundra for 2 years now, and there's still hydrophobic properties to it with windshield wiper usage too. So
the windshield wiper is not taking it off.
No. So you have to imagine glass is a lot more porous than we give credit to it, right? So if you can get a nice inorganic polymer seal over the whole surface, optically clear, obviously, you have a really long-lasting product, because even if you are getting some abrasion, you have to imagine there's fluid in between the glass or the coating and the windshield wiper, so there's a little bit of ease there.
Not always. That's when you screwed up and it's a dirty windshield and you accidentally hit it and you're like, oh no, what have I done?
Or you run out of windshield wiper fluid and you're like, oh, now all the bugs are just smeared across.
Or you're teaching your kid to drive and she gets in and goes, what does this lever do? That lever scratches your windshield.
Right, yeah. The windshield product's great. It has been out for maybe a year or two now. I can't remember when it officially came out, but everybody's car in the parking lot at work is R&D. So they say, hey, do you have the keys to your car? And you're like, oh, God, what are you doing to it now? And you're like, all right, go ahead. Yeah, and might come back with like half a windshield coated and the other half. And they're like, drive around for 30 days and see how it does. You're like, okay, I guess this is what we're going to do. No, but it is a great product.
Can you send me some so I can do half of his windshield while he's not looking?
Just do the passenger side.
Yeah, just for fun. Yeah.
So I'll send it to you. We have a suite of products now. I think 5 in total. 3 of them are regularly sold in over 4,000 brick and mortar Walmart stores. So we're in with Walmart, we're in Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware. So we have a lot of actual retail space now that we're competing against. A lot of really, great brands that are out there like Mother's, McGuire's. I mean, there's a lot of products out there and a lot of good companies. So it's a very competitive environment, but we put a lot of time and effort in developing it, making sure it's the best product on the market. So we really want the feedback, and from all of our customers trying to just say, and we want honest opinions. They're like, hey, it's not as good, and we're like, okay, we're gonna listen to that, because if there comes a day where we're not the best on the market, like, we're going back to the drawing board. We want to make the best products on the market.
The good part is, slow clap.
Sorry, clapping. Yeah.
You're not just a blend house or you're hiring someone else to do it. All the chemicals are under your roof.
Exactly. So we manufacture the actual resin and polymer that goes into the coatings. From monomer to polymer. Okay, so controlling that entire process not only gives us vertical integration with supply, which is great, because then you get into big companies, they want to see that. But the reality is like that allows us to do different materials. We can make new polymers. We can make it act differently. And if we can do that in small scale in R&D, we can scale it up to the large polymer facility that we have on site in Oregon, and we can make as much material as we need. And so not only do we have that nimbleness of a small company, but we have the output of a very large industrial coating and paint company, which is the sweet spot we want to stay in, right? So,
speaking of paint, show Holman your wall of factory colors that is mind-blowing. Come here. Yeah. All right, this is a 20-foot tall wall of paint chips. These little wavy pieces of metal.
What we focused on this year and leading up to SEMA, so from the beginning of the year until November, we have developed OEM color matches. Ford, FCA, GM, Toyota, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Audi, you name it. Because most of our builders, what they'll do is they'll ask for color matches to the paint that they're trying to do the build. They want original paint, but then now they want something cool to match it, or they have certain features of it they want to match, right? So we were getting so many calls being like, hey, do you have a direct match to, Ford Blue or...
We talked about this before where you'd have to pull out the swatch and go, well, this is pretty close. And you would kind of recommend like in the neighborhood, and they would have something to choose from, but it might be like the tint or the tone might be off a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what? It's an easier conversation to say like, hey, do you have this color? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Versus being like, hey, I got something. I got to pull out the book. Here. Yeah. No, it's like, yeah, they're pretty much twins. Yeah. No, we actually did direct color matches. So we went into collision centers. We contacted paint companies and other contacts within the OE world, and we got all the master chips. So we awesome. Over a course of a year, we have developed, I think we were doing close to 30 colors a week at one point, which if you're trying to custom formulate these back to matching things, it is a really tedious process. And so props to the R&D team for doing color development and getting that project going. But if you go up here and you go on Prismatic, if you have a Toyota color or TRD color that you're looking for, you can now type that into the website and it'll pop up.
You've got on each of these chips, you've got, looks like laser etched, the manufacturer. Right. And I'm looking at a couple colors right now. So if we're looking up at the chart, I love reds. I'm a big red guy. I can see what appears to be GM Victory Red.
Yep.
There in the middle of the Chevys there.
Yeah, you got it.
And then on the lower right where the Jeeps are, out of those 3 reds, one is Flame Red and one is Firecracker. And the other one, I can't remember what the other one is. And I'm looking, I'm going, I know that color, Hydro Blue right there. Yeah, there's all sorts of cool stuff. Grabber Orange.
So this is the guy that has to have matchy wheels or something, right? He's powdering his wheels.
Beadlock rings, or maybe even calipers, or
whatever it is, and that's just
suspension.
Yeah, I mean, it could be it could be really any part of the build, but that's a part of our equation, which is when somebody calls and they're like, I need an exact match. We have a great team that you can send something to, or have some of these references, but the requests became so frequent, and then we understood why, and they were just like, man, it'd be great if you really had this, because we have a ton.
You're burning a lot of manpower on these individual. You want to be that customer centric and do it, but you also have lots of other things going on.
Well, we're obviously standing in restoration marketplace too. Yeah. Like, this is where people restore vehicles back to OE, or at least bring some resto mod version of it back. So
there's Lightning's black right there, and Granite Crystal Metallic I just saw there too.
Well, and not to mention, like, it also doesn't prevent the OEs from reaching out, being like, hey, you have our red, that's great, can we just get it? Like, there's times where that's also needed. So this is a really big project, and this was requested so much, and I'm glad we always try to answer the call of the customer, and this has been a big one for a long time. But this empowers people to bring things back to life, give them more options for matching. I mean, and there's more to come. This isn't stopping.
And the nice thing is, if you go to the Stellantis ones, they all reuse the same color and they have different names.
Oh, we know. Yeah, I was like, we've learned. We're like, wait a second.
It's the exact same
thing. Come on, man.
Every brand just names the color something different. Yeah. I see Delmonico red up there. I love Delmonico.
And some of these are old, right? We had to backtrack 30 years, 40 years for some of these colors, because you're like, oh yeah, you're still building 90s Chevrolets, are you? Okay, cool. Yeah, we got to get it. All right, that's on the list.
So are these colors available now?
Yes, these are all available. Everything that's up here, these are.
In fact, he'll let you take a paint chip right off the wall and take it home. Like,
nope.
Yeah, it's like, man, don't say that out loud. He'll take them.
Can you imagine he's got one missing and no one knows what it is?
I would spell something.
We keep extras for that reason, because some people go, oh, this is great, I'm going to take it back to my booth. Yeah, and they walk away with it. So that does happen. No, but it's been a ton of time, a ton of development. So the team that's really put that together, we've been able to really answer the call to our customer base. So if you guys are looking for OE powder coating colors, like, we have it. So just call.
So they call, or they go on the website?
Both. Whatever your flavor is. Some people just don't want to talk to anybody. We get it. You're introverted. You can stay on the website. If you want to call and talk to somebody for 30 minutes.
So they go into Cerakote or Prismatic? Which one?
So this will be prismaticpowders.com. You can go on there. You can check out all the OE collections. We have ring sets of these as well, ready to ship. So if you just want to see Ford colors, we can ship an entire Ford color ring set to you. So whatever you're working on, you can get at least little samples of it, and then these are all in stock, ready to ship.
We should just get a ring set of everything they offer and hang it around the edge of the podcast studio. Need some color in there.
That's a lot of color. Yeah, there's a lot of color. Actually, we're gonna. That's our idea for Christmas ornaments this year. We're just gonna do color swatches.
Let's do our tree for in the pod shed.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think I have some Prismatic color chips on rings. We'll use that. We'll put on our little
Charlie Brown Christmas tree,
our fake plastic tree.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, no, that'd be great. On the Cerakote side, we definitely have some new products. Super Grip that we came out with last year is new for us. It's
Super Grip.
Mm-hmm. So it's actually our first attempt at making a texturized grip coating, which is not a part of the Cerakote known, kind of look and feel. This is really different. Let's
okay. Walking over to the other wall of chips.
So
interesting. And it doesn't reflect light. It's like there's carbon in it or something. I feel like this is like
What does it feel like?
It's like grip tape.
Oh, no, it grip tape, but also it feels like no material. Like it's like
your elbows.
Yeah, it's like your elbow.
Especially after SEMA being in here, yeah. It's a chalky elbow.
No, I feel like this is a material, not a...
The reaction that you're having is what most people have a reaction to. They're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Because it's like your fingers will have a natural reaction to it, because it builds a little moisture on it, and then it grips even better.
But it feels like it is a material, like a woven material, or it's not. It doesn't feel like paint, right? It doesn't feel like not Velcro.
So we've
See what I just did there? I figured out how to pull it off and put it back on.
Yeah.
It's putting it back on. That's a really important part. Yeah. So what's really interesting about this, we try to make a handful of these textured grip products over the years. We made some that were so aggressive, like skateboard grip tape, where if it touched your clothes, it would start pulling threads out. And so we really had to make something like, and then we wanted to make soft touch, but we really couldn't make soft touch. Like, it's counterintuitive to what Cerakote is. So we finally found the right kind of mixture of additives and pigments in order to make Super Grip. Now we have this in oven cure and air cure. So the oven cure is a SG200, the air cure is an SG100. So whatever you want to do, like if you're going to do roof racks or steps or tools, whatever that looks like, we kind of knew we could make this product. And it was the first time we were like, we don't really have a exact customer for this necessarily, so we're just let the market figure out what it's good
I
for.
feel like if this were a roof rack, you'd do it all in a gloss, but then right where you grab would be this section, you know, maybe like 6 inches tall around the circumference of the grab handle. You've got, I can imagine that work.
Yeah, we have some customers that are doing, they do custom build fire trucks for wildland firefighting. And they're doing, instead of doing like, sometimes they would do skateboard grip tape, so they get the razor blade out and it wouldn't last. It's not really good adhesive to the actual
it's not
metal.
very durable. It works for the moment, but it's not very long lasting.
Well, then it wears out. You're like, I got to do this again, right? Yeah. So this is a longer lasting product. So what they were able to do is just do certain features of those like box drop-in beds on those F450s, and just do like steps, do touch points. I mean, and something that's going to last longer, something that can actually take a beating or two, and not wear down the kind of texture or wear down the gripability, if that's a word, but that's kind of what we're gripability.
So it's not so aggressive that you would like to step on it. This is more for your hand.
Yeah, this is good for this is really good for your hand, but it can take floor scuffing. So I wouldn't necessarily say don't limit it, but we try to make the more aggressive versions of it, and it's just like, you got to, again, if you make a product really accessible, you got to make it really accessible to people who, might shred their entire clothes. I mean, we did that with like holstered pistols. We're like, oh man, this stuff's great, and then we went like this, and we ruined shirts. Oh yeah, we ruined them. We pull
it out of the holster, you pull your pants.
It was like Nike Dry Fit was gone.
Oh yeah, gone. Those aren't durable anyway.
Like a big old fuzzy patch in the back. You're like, what happened?
Those are great shirts to wear unless you're carrying.
Oh yeah, and then it's like, nope, it's over. Yeah, you lost it.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for walking us through.
Yeah, no, good to see you guys again.
Congratulations on all the innovations.
Thank you, and more to come. So, beginning of the year, I'd say in the first quarter, we have new chemistry coming out on the Cerakote Legacy products. Some really, really important things that our customers have been asking for, but we have more industrial products that are coming out. So
let's connect in springtime and have you on for a full segment.
In the meantime, get you caught up on some of the stuff you've missed out on so far. So we'll get you those products to try out. But good to see you guys.
You're the best.
Thanks, man.
Oh my gosh, that's so much SEMA coverage! And I still am mad that I missed 40% of the show. I was so busy, I didn't even get to see.
Here's the thing. So everyone asks you when you get back, how was SEMA? How was SEMA? And every single person I responded to with this, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? I go, I don't know. I didn't get to absorb any of it. And they're like, you were there for 2 days. I go, nope, got to be there all week, and I can't have any obligations. I need to just roll through the halls and just like soak it in, which I didn't get to do.
Okay, so
I know I sound like it's first world problems, right? Like, oh, well, shut up, you were there.
Listen, a little dirty secret. I kept my Friday wide open so I could see and do whatever I wanted. And then I may have, because I had no obligations on Friday, I may have slept in a little bit, took my time, packed up the car, got over there, mid-morning, and then I kind of bonsai'd. And then about mid-afternoon, I went, I'm really tired. And I sat down and just talked to people for like an hour.
Oh, that's great.
And then all of a sudden,
That's the
people
way to do it.
clapped and honked when the show ended. And I was sitting there going, oh, I didn't see this whole row over here or that building or any of that.
Dude, I'm telling you,
crazy.
When I used to go way back in the day, I didn't have any obligations. I wasn't doing interviews. I wasn't going for banks, talking to vendors and suppliers and all that stuff. I wasn't on the hunt for the next best turbo, like that kind of thing. I could walk through the hallways and just like walk every single aisle and just soak it in. Go, that's awesome. That's silly. That's an innovative product. I like that. I don't get to do that anymore. And I miss that. I think I'm going to take a year off, and I'm going to go back in 2 years fresh with no obligations. That's my plan.
Good plan.
It won't happen, but it's a plan. The Truck Show podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.